Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters. This part we have the release of Summer Acerola and Jellicent, alongside, for the second character to drop for whatever the summer event is called this year. I don't have the timeline pulled up. Either way, we got Acerola here. She released alongside Gardenia, of course, and we're going to be seeing, reviewing how good her kit is, and how worthwhile she may be going for, what she can do, all that. I want to say, not sure if I'll make the mistake, but for some reason in the past few days, since the data mine, I've had trouble for some reason differentiating between Acerola and Lana. I've got no idea why. Never had this problem before. Probably because Lana is featured in the event and she also gave Acerola the Jellicent. So yeah, if I accidentally say Lana, I probably mean Acerola. Yeah, whatever. So let's go ahead and look at her kit. Anyway, she's a support sync pair with the Techie X roll. Not really the greatest combination, but I mean, it's to be expected for any pretty much non-Pokefair or Master Fair sync pair. She's a ghost type with the electric weakness. She drops June 30th and leaves July 15th, giving you slightly over 2 weeks to pull for her. About average, of course. Generic theme skills, nothing really much to say there. Stats department, she's got very solid stats, 681 health, 300 defense, 311 special defense. Offensive stats, of course, are not great. Speed is not great either, but it doesn't really matter too much. With level 150 and 6-star EX, her stats go to 367 special defense, 356 defense, and over 800 health, which is definitely very, very good. And the Tech EX roll, of course, can buff stats even higher. Wouldn't really worry too much about it, but I mean, if you do want to try and invest that, you can do as such. So she definitely has very solid stats for any defensive character, definitely. Only problem I'd say is her speed stat, but it's not really the worst thing in the world, for sure. Looking at her move, she's got Water Gun, which is mostly going to be used as a 1-gauge spammable move, pretty average, I'd say. Recover, which is a 2-gauge move, 2 uses. It restores her HP by 50%. Definitely worse than Potions, I would say, but it is still good. It is still a good healing method. Of course, it's only able to be used by her. It's not used by allies, but that's not really a problem. Once we look at the rest of her kit and how she's mostly designed, I guess, it's still good. Having that recovery is amazing. She's got her buddy move, Shoreline, Ominous Wind, 2-gauge move, 2 uses as well. 100 power targets all enemies. Activation conditions when HP is at 80% or more, so that's where the recover healing comes in to get the buddy move activated. It raises the attack, defense, special defense, and speed of all allies by 2. That's a pretty broken buddy move. That's a pretty broken buddy move, especially because you can use it twice. Even if you're not maxing defenses or offenses or speed or whatever, +4 in all stats is definitely a worthwhile caveat, right? You miss out on getting +2 to get them all to +6, but still, you're able to actually do that buffing, which is pretty insane. And I don't think there's any character that can do that same level of buffing and the same level of speed that Acerola can. So this makes her a very, very solid general support. For pretty much any team you want to bring her on, she will be able to apply something, whether it be defensive buffs, offensive buffs, or just gauge management, which is extremely good, of course. Just a very good versatile support, which is what you're really looking for in a lot of top-tier content, such as, ranked content? I don't know, whatever. What do you call it? The Legendary Gauntlet and High Score event, most notably, is where Acerola is definitely going to shine. Which is made further the case by looking at her trainer move, which increases physical and special moves next by 1 stat rank of all allies, and increases her own water and ghost rebuff by 1 rank as well. So the water and ghost rebuff definitely are an amazing thing for any stage that uses any of those types of moves, which is most notably the high score event, right? So being able to potentially bring her in a future water and ghost high score event is going to be amazing. But of course, we do have the ghost and dark high score event that is coming in a little over a week, about a week and a half, I'd say, which Acerola is going to be very, very excellent in. So that's pretty much why Acerola and Gardenia are releasing how they are now. Obviously, they're summer, but they're both ghosts, probably because they planned around the dark ghost high score event coming around this time, right? So they're definitely going to be useful for that event, no doubt about that. And of course, the general physical and special moves next enhancement just solidifies Acerola's ability to be able to be a good general offensive support, or just general support in general. Just good support in general, right? It doesn't really need to be anything offensive, defensive, or anything focused. She's just good in all areas for the most part. Very jack-of-all-trades type of support, I suppose. Passive skills, she's got Touch at Your Own Peril, which lowers enemy attack and special attack by 2 when the user is hit by an attack move. So you do get some debuffs on her as well, on top of the defensive buffs that she is able to apply to the whole team. You're also able to get enemy offensive debuffs, which is just going to help a whole lot for her own tanking and, of course, team tanking. And she's got her heal move, Team Gradual Healing, applying Gradual Healing to all allies when the user uses a move that has the heals effect tag. And she's got Team Fist Bump, which restores HP of all allies when her attack move is successful. So this is her method of team healing. She's able to apply Gradual Healing to all allies when using Recover, so 2 instances of Gradual Healing application, and she's able to use Team Fist Bump to restore HP of all allies when using Water Gun. Again, these are, like, of course, potions, again, instead of Recover would be better, obviously, but this is still a very, very solid method of healing. It's going to make her look very, very solid for her own tanking ability in any top-tier content, and it's going to make her team health management ability pretty solid as well. I'm not going to say it's amazing, but it is definitely good, and it should be pretty pretty useful, right? Akin to that of, like, Rika's healing, right? And Rika is obviously good for her own reasons, but Acerola shares that similar type of team healing ability, which is nice, for sure. So, overall, as a 1 out of 5 kid, because she doesn't really have anything in the grid, I would say Acerola is an amazing, just general supportive character. She's going to be really good in the gauntlet for her amazing defensive ability and team sustainability abilities. I'm bad with words, obviously. Don't have, my vocabulary is not the biggest in the world. And again, the high score event as well because of her rebuff, and again, just wide scope of units that she's able to actually apply buffs to. Like, there is not exactly a unit that she does not synergize at least at some point with, besides any character that, you know, needs crit buffs, which she cannot apply at 1 out of 5, right? That's about the only thing that she cannot really fulfill. And of course, Weather Train Zone, but I don't really think that's applicable either way. Point being, very solid general support. I'm not going to say she's, like, you know, the best in any specific area. I mean, of course, she's more catered towards ghost and water types because of the rebuff and whatnot, or sorry, facing ghost and water typed enemies, but she is still going to be good with pretty much any character. Still very, very nice, for sure. And I guess we'll look at the grid now. So 2 out of 5, she gets Water Guard, Debut Regen, Trip Up 4, Quick Cure, Gauge Refresh abilities, and Turn Move NPR. Turn Move NPR could be good, of course, for maxing your Water and Ghost rebuff, though you really shouldn't have to. She's going to be very, very resilient to any Water and Ghost moves naturally as it is. But of course, the Turn of NPR is going to be good for that physical and special moves next buff, so you can further enhance team damage as long as you're able to proc that NPR, which is, of course, going to be really good. So her 2 out of 5 is actually pretty solid on that front, just because of the Turn of NPR, I would say. Recover Master Healer as well. I think that turns her healing to what, like 75%? I think that's how Master Healer works, right? It takes what, half of what your healing is and applies it, so half of 50% would be 25%, so 75% total health. I could be wrong about that, but I don't remember. Either way, it's a lot of healing. Recover already heals 50% HP. Master Healer is going to make you recover at least like 70%. That's good. Duh. So extra healing's nice. Debut Regen, of course, does help out with potentially having to be able to save your recovers. You do have to worry about team HP, right? So you do have to kind of plan your recover usage probably more so around how your teammates are going to need healing. Less so Acerola, because of course she's already very defensive as is. I don't think her health is ever going to be a big problem, but you mostly want to try and worry about your team's health. So being able to save those recovers for when your team is going to need the gradual healing is useful. So Debut Regen, I guess, does provide some usage on that front. And then Trip Up 4, 50% chance to debuff speed. That's nice. A little bit of a gimmick check, you know, deactivating Cakewalk or Inertia, deactivating any gimmicks where enemies need speed debuffs, like the fucking Nita Ultimate Battle, though that's a really extreme example, and I don't think that's one that's really too applicable. Still, you know, that type of case where enemies need speed debuffs, and of course activating multipliers and whatever else, right? And that's mostly, yeah, the other stuff's mostly just generic abilities like Gauge Refresh for gauge management, Quick Cure and whatnot for getting rid of status changes, etc. Right? And then at 3 out of 5, she gets Impervious, Critical Squad on the turn to move it, staggering 3 on Water Gun, Head Start 1, Status Immunity, Initial Guard, Recover NPR, and another Recover Master Healer node. Yeah, this is a pretty good 3 out of 5. Staggering 3 is amazing. Just in general, you're going to be able to potentially flinch to the enemies and also apply the team healing with Team Fist Bump, so that's going to be extremely good and it's amazing in the gauntlet, frankly. Like, it's going to make, I'd say that this node alone is going to make her solo potential pretty damn good. And then obviously, of course, for duo units, she's going to be just she's already really stupidly good for any duo scenario, but staggering just makes it nuts, right? Like, she's going to be able to carry even the worst unit to victory for the most part, just because of amazing team sustainability, as long as, you know, the enemy can be flinch locked. And even without it, she's still got so many other abilities, like the debuffs and the team healing and whatnot, that can cover her team even against probably the most toughest of arenas in some aspects, as long as you know, you're not like fucking Moltres under Sun, right? Anyway. She's also got Impervious, preventing stat debuffs. That's just, you know, generally nice as well. Like Regirock debuffing defense, or any, like, ultimate battle that tries to debuff your stats or anything like that. High score event, whatever stage that wants to try and debuff you, being able to deal with that is nice. So you keep up your sustainability, keep up, you know, speed for gauge, and whatever else, right? And accuracy too, potentially. That type of stuff. Training with Critical Squad, of course, very good. This finally gives you your ability to be a very complete, rounded support, because, of course, that was probably the biggest caveat of her Jack of all trades abilities, is that she's not able to buff crit, right? So there are characters she cannot really work too well with because she's not able to max out their true offensive ability, where Critical Squad now kind of gets rid of that problem. She's now able to buff crit. You're cooking. So she's good. That pretty much just rounds out her buffing ability. Of course, she doesn't have accuracy or evasion buffs, but this is the most important for just any general supportive character to have. Crit buffs and offensive defense and speed buffs. Head Start 1, if you want to do a little bit of sync countdown stuff, I wouldn't really worry about picking this node up. I really doubt it's going to be too helpful other than a few gimmick strats. Maybe... I don't think she's ever going to be too useful in, like, the damage challenge, simply because of her lack of... I guess, like, the physical moves next and special moves next buffing's nice, but, like, just in general, I don't think... Maybe in the Ghost Week one? I don't know, I'd have to think more about that, but I still think that she's not really going to be fantastic for that mode, but the ramping could be good there, because it tends to be for the damage challenge, but either way, I don't think this node's really too worth mentioning. It still is there, though. Status immunity, preventing status conditions, of course, is nice as well. Again, gimmick check for any legendary arena that LIC status. You know, Tornadus is paralysis, Cresselia is toxic. I think Cobalion uses... No, Tornadus uses toxic. Yeah, Tornadus uses toxic. I forget who paralyzes. Yuxi? Yeah, Yuxi's can paralyze. Yuxi can also freeze, you know. Just get rid of all those random status conditions. Prevents a little bit more RNG, right? Which, of course, I don't think she's really struggling too much on that front anyway, but it is there for anyone who may be facing a lot of status condition RNG. And then initial guard for damage guard. I mean, this could be good for any, like, hard-hitting opening attack, which is what quite a few ultimate battles can do, right? Like Annabelle's Eruption, she can deal with that a little bit better. Overall, though, not really too crazy of an ability, but it is still good, definitely. And then Recover NPR, this is probably what's going to be really, really solid for her solo potential, is being able to potentially get 1, 2, 3, however many Recover NPRs, so that she can just keep spamming Water Gun and just eventually cripple the enemy. I do think Acerola is going to be quite good for just beating down the enemy as slow as possible, but she's also simultaneously not going to take too much damage because of her defensive buffs and her offensive debuffs and her gradual healing. So I think she's really going to be really, really stupidly good for that. And that's pretty much the whole kit. Again, the big thing with Acerola here is that she's made as a very rounded support, so a lot of new players could probably get some good usage out of her and being able to be as extremely versatile for carrying really any setup you want to run, right? Like any maybe, you know, free-to-play setup, such as Getsis or Giovanni, Cyrus, like, you know, these 3 legendary arena characters to be like a stadium stage or something, or, of course, you know, for even higher level play, you've got the legendary gauntlet, and you've got yourself the high score event, which she really excels in. Being extremely versatile is amazing for those game modes, and of course the water and ghost rebuff is amazing specifically for the high score event. So she does have some, not even niches, she does have some very good prowess in those events, some very top tier prowess, I would say. Ultimate battles, I don't think she's gonna be doing too much. I don't think she really replaces, you know, the main core of other top-tier supports, not that she would replace them in the other game modes either, but still, point being, I don't really think that she's going to be doing too much for, like, Ultimate Battle content, but of course you can make it work. It's not like she's going to be bad for it, but it's more so, it's less optimal and not really like she's too catered for any specific stage or anything. Like, you could bring her against Argenta because of her water rebuff or something, but overall, don't really think it's really what their intention was when making this unit, and I don't really think it's the best way to think about how she should be run. I think it kind of limits the scope a little bit. But of course, again, you can make her work in those stages if you want to. As for how I would build her grid, it again obviously depends on what game mode you're going for, and I'm not really the best for building for modes that I'm not really playing too much. But I mean, if you want just a good general supportive character, the critical squad's going to be probably pretty good. Could go for the water gun, gauge refresh if you are going to try and go for like a solo or any real lacking in gauge type of stage. Training with NPR could be good too if you want to max out crit, or if you need to max out crit rather. Water gun staggering is going to be extremely good as well, so something like that's definitely nice. And then probably recover. Yeah, if you want to go for the extra +1 energy, you can build a grid like this and get that recover master healer as well as recover NPR. Get yourself that crit maxing and the staggering 3 on water gun. But of course, it's going to depend on what partner you run her with, or partners rather, or what you're trying to fight, right? Like again. These type of grids are mostly just built, I guess, for generic stages or more general usage than anything specifically made for whatever. So if you want to try and find a specific grid for a specific battle, it's probably going to be changed up a little bit. But I think that this is generally good enough if you're going to be just trying to use her in a ton of different content. It'll probably cover most of what you want. But yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts about Summer, Acerola, and Jellicent. Let me know what you think about this sync pair down in the comments below. Definitely an amazingly rounded support for the Legendary Gauntlet high score event specifically, but all types of content as well. She will be useful in most definitely. So let me know if you're going to be pulling for her. Let me know if you're going to be skipping her. I'm going to personally probably be doing daily discounts, but that's about it. So yeah. I'll see you all later. Hope you all enjoyed. Submit art to my email or my Discord or my Twitter, or whatever, if you do want to be potentially featured at the end screen of the video. Like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. And again, I'll see you all later.